Hey, welcome into another episode of Out of Bounds with your host, Todd Fox, and the other host of the show,
Carlos.
Carlos from Parts Unknown. We're going to get into all the games. We're going to do the recap. This is a recap show of Week 8 in the NFL. Let's quickly go through the records. What are we looking at right now, the records between me, you, and Randy?
Oh, well, Randy came into the week. What was his record last week? Do you have his record? Because the last record I got pulled up for him is 30-14, and I know that might not be accurate.
No, you're right. 30-14 plus. Now go ahead.
He had 11 wins, didn't he?
11 wins.
So he's 41 and then 4 losses, right? So he's 41-18.
41-18.
My handy dandy pen, right here. So he's 41-18.
Yeah, and then I took I got 10 wins and 5 losses.
So you're 74-49.
Okay.
And then one. We always got to have the one.
Yeah.
Can't get away from it no matter what. And then I had 9 wins. I did basically one underneath you. You did I went 63.
What did you do? 63 and what?
59.
Okay.
63 and 59. Because I went 9 and 6.
You gotta get the record straight.
63 and 60. 63 and 60. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
That's official. 63 and 60.
Dang, dude. All right.
And 1. How could I forget the 1?
The one's always there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get this show on the go here. What we're gonna do is break down the recaps of all these games. There was a lot to talk about. We might sprinkle in some trades depending on how things go. We'll talk about some things here. Well, what are your first impressions of Week 8, or should we just jump into the games?
Well, a lot of the obvious things happened in football this past weekend. The only reason anybody took any losses because you want to chance those trap games like me with the Steelers and Eagles, because you never want to be taken off guard. Like, how did that happen? You always want to be prepared for those shockers that happen. So I guess I was my own worst enemy on that one, making a prediction on that one where I got in front of myself and got my own way in a few of those games.
Yeah, sometimes you either pick with your heart or you're picking irrationally, man, because it's like, dude, like you want to catch up in the standings, but it takes a while, you know what I mean? It's going to take a while when you have a slow start, and I had a slow start. I got it going a little bit more than you have, but you're going to get it going, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope this upcoming week I get it going.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's get it started, man. We got a lot to talk about in this episode, and the first game is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens won 27-22. Too much Lamar Jackson. He was 27-38, 238, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 3 times. Gus Edwards was 11 rushes, 65 yards. Isaiah Likely was your leading receiver, 6 catches, 77 yards. Tom Brady, with a divorce hanging over him, 26 of 44, 325 and a touchdown. Leonard Fournette only rushed for 24 yards. So that was a big problem here. Mike Evans, though, had a good game, 6 catches, 123 yards. Chris Godwin, 6 for 75, but Tampa falls short because, again, you can't run the ball. Baltimore kept their defense out there. And what's your first thoughts on the Ravens going to 5-3, Tampa falling to 3-5?
Well, the one intriguing thing about that whole entire game, we all picked the Ravens to win that game, and it was interesting to see how the offense started. It seemed like the offense started moving a little bit quicker and better, and they started generating more. I feel like they were just looking better when Mark Andrews actually left the game and Isaiah Likely came in. I don't know how much of the game you actually watched, but I had the game on and I caught most of it. And that dude Likely in preseason, he was looking like how he does in the regular season. And I was wondering why the Ravens hadn't come out double tight end set. Because if they're lacking wide receivers, why don't they just come out and put Isaiah Likely out there? The guy is like he's like you could throw him out there as a slot wide receiver. The dude is good. He's really, really good. And then you got Mark Andrews right there, and then you can always take off with Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's it. That offense that's what they were probably missing right there. And then they got Deshaun Jackson, who who's going to start playing pretty soon. So hopefully he can stretch the field. And then as far as the Buccaneers, dude, they lost. What was the linebacker they lost? Shaq Barrett, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be out for a while. The Buccaneers, they just look like they're getting worse and worse by the minute. But now that the divorce is over, let's see how Tom Brady actually performs. Everybody's counting him out, but now that the divorce is done and over with, let's see how he actually comes into each game. Maybe that's what he needed.
Exactly. And, spoiler alert, as far as you talk about that division, I was one play away from being correct of all the teams being 3-5 in that division. Damn, I was so close.
Pinheiro, the kicker, huh?
Yep. Well, enough of that game. Tampa Bay takes a loss. We're going to move on to Denver versus the Jaguars. Jaguars have lost now 4 in a row after starting 2-1, or 5 in a row, I'm sorry, after starting 2-1. Denver Broncos, everyone's boring team. They're tired of being the national game. The prime time, they actually improved to 3-5. Russell Wilson, pedestrian, 18 for 30, 252, a touchdown and a pick, sacked 3 times. Latavius Murray, 14 for 46 on the ground. Dolce, or whatever you say his name, 4 for 87. Denver really not inspiring offense. Trevor Lawrence, the WNBA star, 18 of 31. He continues to regress after a fast start the first 3 games. Only 133 yards passing, a touchdown and 2 picks. Itane or
call him by his first name. I don't know how to say his last name either.
Yeah, he had a good. Oh, go ahead.
Just call him Travis E or something, dude, until you get the name down, because you're gonna butcher that one. I like silent letters. I don't know how that. Like, I gotta actually YouTube or Google search how to actually pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
ETN or whatever his name is.
There you go. I think it is ETN. But Travis, 24 of 100 for 156. He was the star in the game with a touchdown. Evan Ingram, 4 for 55. This game, I only watched 2 snaps of it, to be honest with you. I didn't get up that early. I was like, screw it. So I don't have much to say on this game.
Yeah, for you guys over there in California, over here it's early as it is, but it's not too early. It's a 9:30 start in the morning, so it's not too bad. It's kind of like waking up for work actually. Over here because I got a morning job. Quick things about this game I wanted to point out, dude. I watched about the first half, and then I made the thing that really turned me off about the game. There was 2 things. For one, the whole entire first half was boring as shit, and then the cherry topper was ESPN was in charge of the commentary. I couldn't stand Dan Orlovsky and his demanding demeanor, and I couldn't stand the one guy. What's the one? Lewis Reddick. I couldn't stand him and Steve Levy or whatever the guy's now. It's just a bad combination, and the game was boring. I feel bad for the rookie, for the running back Travis for Jacksonville. 150 plus yards, and then that game got thrown away. There was 2 or 3 bad interceptions by Trevor Lawrence. I want to say they both happened in the end zone, in the red zone. I want to say one of them for sure in the end zone. It was terrible. It was terrible. Almost as bad as Zach Wilson's. But they got something going if Trevor Lawrence can just get it under control. They got Evan Ingram. I didn't know that he was a tight end, dude. I know who Evan Ingram is. He used to be for the New York Giants, but the way he runs and the way his body is formed, I was like, that's a wide receiver. He even wears number 17. I was like, that's wide. And then they kept saying his name. I was like, no, that's a tight end. And then they said at the tight end. I was like, damn, Evan Ingram is having a good game. And then Denver, I don't know what it is about Denver, dude. Because Russell Wilson was trolling. Remember, he was on the airplane. He was on the airplane doing stretches and all kinds of who knows what on the airplane. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what Denver needs is to lighten up and start trolling, and maybe that'll help them out in the long run. Maybe the coach needs that.
I don't know. They're starting to trade away guys, so they're sellers.
They're starting to trade away. Oh yeah, they got rid of Bradley Chubb. I saw that.
Yep.
But yeah, they're. I don't know what to think about the games, bro. It's gonna be hard for me to pick against the Broncos this year or pick with them. I don't know how to take them.
It's a coin flip. You don't know, but we'll see how they are moving forward. Now, after that game in London, let's move to a game that was a lot better. This is the one that was in Atlanta. This was probably one of the games of the day. Didn't start good. Atlanta they were in control for most of the game, but Carolina had a big third quarter. They scored 21, or fourth quarter scored 21 points, including down 6 points with just 20 seconds to go. P.J. Walker, he went 19 of 36, 317 yards, threw his only touchdown, a beautiful throw to Devontae Foreman, who caught it right at the goal line for the touchdown. He had his 3rd touchdown of the game. But or actually, no, it was not Foreman. Foreman was a running back. I'm sorry. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground. It was DJ Moore. I'm sorry.
I saw that one on the red zone, like when I was flipping back and forth, because when the Vikings would go on commercial, I would go to the red zone, and I seen that one. I was like, damn, that was a beautiful bomb.
Oh yeah, it was gorgeous. It was right on the freaking. And see, here's the thing, RJ Walker. I'm sorry, PJ Walker. Good God, I'm butchering everything. PJ Walker, is a really really good quarterback who was used in I think it was the XFL, and he was a good quarterback. And I bet you they're regretting the fact they went out and got Mayfield because he should have been the starter.
And Darnold.
Yeah, and Darnold. Yeah, those are 2 quarterbacks that suck.
It's sad to think about how Darnold and Mayfield were both top 5 picks the year that they came out, the same draft pick, and now they're both sitting on the same bench on a 2-win team.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing right there. Those 2 dudes came out top 5. It just goes to show you that the draft is overrated, bro. You gotta have a GM. Coaches are always going to follow, I feel like, what the media says. The GMs are the ones that's their job to pick out the players. They just ask the coach, what do you think? And then if they it's all the GM, bro. But it just goes to show you that first round, that you don't always find talent in the first round. More than likely, you're going to find a bust in the first round.
Exactly. And see, to finish up, Marcus Mariota, 20 of 28, very efficient, but he did have 2 interceptions, 253 over the air, 3 touchdowns. Caleb Huntley rushed for 91 yards. Kyle Pitts was 5 for 80. But the biggest play in this game is right when they tied it, like we were talking about on that Hail Mary pass, beautiful pass. Moore did what Rudd did from Cleveland years ago, celebrated too early, did not get off the field, threw his helmet or took it off, and it's like, bro, that's a 15-yard penalty. So instead of a 23 or 33-yard attempt, he's kicking from 48, and he just missed it, went to overtime. Carolina couldn't do nothing with it. Falcons get the game-winning field goal. What a tough loss for the Carolina Panthers. Had they won this game, all 4 teams will be sitting at 3-5. Now Atlanta is your first place team.
And they were saying on the radio, that had Carolina won that game, they'd be the division leaders. Think about that. They'd be division because they beat I think they beat the Saints, the Bucks, and then they would have beaten the Falcons too. They would have been 3-0 against the division in the first half of the season. But before we move on to the next game, let's just give a shot. Let's try and figure this one out as the season goes on, because I know it's only been like maybe 2 games. But how the hell do the Panthers go from looking really really bad to looking like a really competitive team when they traded away Christian McCaffrey, they traded away Robbie Anderson, and now you've got these running backs that you only know because of fantasy football, and you got DJ Moore who's looking like a stud all of a sudden, and then you got all these other different little pieces. The Panthers and then they also got rid of their head coach too. Remember, it was Matt Rule, the guy that I had the biggest hate crime against. But yeah, shout out to the Carolina Panthers getting the job done. Looking like a team that's going to be competitive all year long. I just want to give a shout out to the guys that are getting it done because they got rid of all those superstar household names.
Yeah, they're playing much better, and they got nothing to lose. They're playing for jobs. There's no egos right there, and that's good for football. And I'll get into what that means to my team later on. But I give you credit, dude. The Panthers are coming out playing much better, and I give them credit as well. Fun team to watch, and yes, they will be competitive the rest of the season.
No matter what the record is, like when you play against a team like Carolina, Atlanta, the whole entire NFC South, throw like the records away, throw them out the window, because it's basically who wants it more at that point. Because those teams down there, they may have a bad record, but they're competitive. Yeah,
unfortunately, we got Carolina on our schedule too, so.
That's going to be a good one.
We've already lost to Atlanta and New Orleans, so it's not good.
Yeah, think about that. That game for Atlanta that they took from you guys would be sitting at a 5-3 record, right?
No, 5-2.
And then the game against New Orleans, where if you guys would have stopped Taysom Hill,
6-1.
Lost to the 49ers, and only because Trey Lance got injured. You guys might be sitting on an undefeated season right now without Russell Wilson. I was thinking about that. I was like, man, I can't believe. I got a little bit heated. I was like, they should have beaten the Saints, and they should have beaten the Falcons.
Well, now you know how I feel. If this team goes 500 the rest of the way and they miss the playoffs, they're going to look at those 2 games earlier in the season and be like, God damn it, we had it.
That Saints one I think is going to hurt more because Atlanta they're looking pretty good, but the Saints, they look like a mess.
Yeah, we'll talk about Geno moving on here. I'll touch on that one. The next game is the how about them Cowboys versus the Bears. The Bears fall to 3-5. The Dallas Cowboys go to 6-2. They're going to be going on a bye here soon. Justin Fields actually hurt his arm because he threw it 2 more times than he usually does. He went 17 of 23, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Khalil Herbert rushed 16 times for 99 yards. So they did 240 yards on the ground. They actually did pretty good. Darnell Mooney had 5 for 70 through the air. But again, when you got Mooney, Harry, Montgomery, and Pettis, you don't have a receiving core. That's one of the top 5 worst in the league. Dak Prescott for the Cowboys, 21 of 27, 250, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Pollard. When given the start, he kicks ass off the bench, but he's really good starting. He averaged 9 yards a carry, 14 carries, 131 yards, and 3 freaking touchdowns. He killed the freaking Bears in this one. CeeDee Lamb, 5 for 77 through the air. The Cowboys win 49-29.
Yeah, well, there's not much to really talk about this game. It was expected, other than like what you just pointed out. The Bears didn't have it. They didn't have a wide receiver. Now they got a wide receiver that's a little bit more reliable, Chase Claypool. But is he going to be like one of those like studs that during when you need like a third, like on a 3rd and like 10, when you needed like that serious catch, like a toe tipping catch? Is he going to be that type of guy? I don't know if I trust him like that, but we'll see as time goes on. Micah Parsons had the play of the game, and Justin Fields had a chance to touch him when he was down on the ground. He could have just like slightly kicked him or whatever, like barely like put his hands on him, and the play wouldn't have happened. But because that happened, Micah Parsons took the fumble or the fumble or interception back to the house, and that didn't make a difference. Dallas was going to steamroll him no matter what, but Justin Fields, now he has a weapon, and it'll be interesting to see if the Bears and the Cowboys meet up in the playoffs, because now they got a weapon, and let's see how they finish the season out.
Absolutely. The Bears are pretty much sunk after another loss, but the Cowboys are definitely positioning themselves. 3 teams could come out of that NFC East.
Now remember this. The 49ers are 4-4, and the Bears are 3-5. And if the Bears and the 49ers finish with the same record, the Bears beat them week 1. Remember that.
That's true. They had the tiebreaker.
So now the 49er faithful need the Bears to lose out or lose as many games as possible so they can make the playoffs. Otherwise, they won't make the playoffs with a tiebreaker.
Exactly. That'll move us on to the next game. The Miami Dolphins go to 5-3. This was a lot closer game than we all expected. The Dolphins had to come from behind. They came from behind. They scored 27 points. The Detroit Lions in the first half at home had a 27-10 lead, but did not score anything after that. And all of a sudden, the Dolphins came back, played efficient defense and efficient offense. Tua Tagovailoa, 29 of 36, 382 yards, 3 touchdowns, no pick. What a game. He had a perfect quarterback rating. Raheem Mostert had 64 yards on the ground. Tyreek Hill continues to just be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
12 catches, 188 yards. I think you called that in the last one. You said he was going to have a big-ass game in this one. Also, Waddle chipped in with 8 catches, 106 yards. Real quick, is that the best wide receiver tandem or one of the best wide receiver tandem?
Unless you can show me otherwise, I can't go away from that. That's the best. And look at the quarterback that they got. They got Tua, then they got Teddy, and then they got Skylar Thompson, I want to say his name is. Look at that. I don't recognize his name only because the Vikings played against them. I slightly remember. I think I got that name right. But yeah, Mike Gesicki, he hasn't really gotten it going. He's been having a down year. Raheem Mostert, I knew he was good in San Francisco. I didn't trust him because of the injuries. And now the Dolphins got Jeff Wilson from the 49ers. Isn't it crazy? Think about this. It's like the Miami Dolphins. Doesn't matter what regime is in place. They love the 49ers running back. They had Breida the Cheetah. You remember him?
Mm-hmm.
He was with the 49ers when they were on their little run. It was Breida the Cheetah. And now they got Raheem Mostert. He went there from free agency. He was a former 49er. And now they got Jeff Wilson, a former 49er. They love 49er running backs over there in Miami. So whoever's contract is expiring for the 49ers as a running back in years to come, you know where they're going. They're going to Miami. But as far as how the game played out, dude, I was disturbed. I was like, dude, I was looking at the game. I was looking. It's 27-17. I was like, okay, Detroit's going to pull this one. They're going to pull away, and they're going to get another win, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. They're at home. There's no way they're going to lose. I turned back to the Vikings game, and then I'm just sitting here. I'm deep into the Vikings game, right? And then so they go back in commercials a few times, like in the fourth quarter or whatever. And then I see that the Dolphins are beating the Lions. I'm like, how the hell did they just squander a 10-point lead in the second half? I was like, how the fuck? And then it just hit me strong. It was like somebody just threw a big ass fucking rock at my head, like a brick, a 5-ton brick, a center block at my head. They were like, and it said Detroit Lions. I was like, oh yeah, that's how they did it. They did Detroit Lions. I mean, how do you do that? Every single game they've had a double-digit lead. Against us, they had a double-digit lead. Did you guys play them or no?
Yeah, we played them when they couldn't. They didn't stop us once. We never punted the entire game. We kept scoring.
Yeah,
So
that was a high scoring game. That was a high scoring game.
yeah, highest in I think the Seahawks history even. So
They said that the Detroit Lions have as many points scored as the Minnesota Vikings have as many. Like they have like they're within like 3 points of each other or whatever. They're even closer, the same exact. But they've given up the most points in the NFL, so that means nothing. So it's just like, what do you do?
I'm telling you, that's a franchise that has a lot of fans that have switched to other teams over the years. I just don't see how you could be a Lions fan for that long. I just don't.
As a Viking fan, I love the trade, but how, as a football fan, explain that when T.J. Hawkinson to the Minnesota Vikings, and it looks like the Vikings are going to win the division outright. How do you do that as a as a GM of the Lions? How do you do that?
I don't know. I mean, it's just sort of one of those things where you hope to get better, but Hawkinson's one of their best players, and he's literally your only other target on the outside. You only got one of the receivers, so I don't know, man. I mean, it just again, I don't know how you could be a Lions fan. I mean, it's all bad news. I mean, the only thing you really look forward to is that Thanksgiving Day game, and when you get the Thanksgiving Day game, I could probably count on my hand how many times the freaking Lions have won that game over the years. Usually everybody that comes and plays Detroit on Thanksgiving Day just hammers them. It's not even close. I mean, I've seen a couple close games with the Packers, but for the most part, everyone just beats the shit out of them.
Though. Like that's one thing about divisional games. You always expect not nail biters and like really close games. Doesn't matter who's who, what divisions, but it's always really close. It's always really close. Jaguars, Colts, always. But dude, I'm with you on that one. And then I'm gonna add to what you just said. I remember in 2004, I want to say Peyton Manning, the Colts. They had the Thanksgiving game, and they went into Detroit. Peyton Manning hung 5 touchdowns on Detroit.
Yeah. It's embarrassing. I've seen a game where New England went in there, Tom Brady with those throwbacks, and they were up like 30-0 at halftime. So I mean, it wasn't even close.
I think that they need to get away. I don't even think that's like really tradition. Everybody complains that the Lions and the Cowboys get all the things get. They just need to just throw random teams out there now, brother. It's just like it's a whole new day. Like we need to get away from it. Like yeah, it's nice that they're trying to keep the tradition going, but come on, bro, Detroit.
Well, that's why sometimes the best game of the week or that Thanksgiving Day game is the night game when they have two random teams. Huh?
You know which game that is this year?
Let me guess, Vikings.
Against the Patriots in Minnesota.
That's actually a pretty good game. It's going to test your offense because their defense is no joke.
I can't wait, man.
Yeah, there you go. Well, let's talk about your favorite other team, the one that makes you wear sunglasses. Cliff Kingsbury brought his shades, his Ray-Bans, and his attitude into Minnesota as the Vikings hosted the Cardinals. The Cardinals would take a loss, 3-5. The Vikings skull their way to a 4-0 record at home. They're 6-1. I will say this, though. A couple things kind of like disturbed me a little bit or kind of like bugged me because I expected the Vikings to blow out the Cardinals. Cardinals gave them a couple chances to put the game away late to where it wasn't a one-possession game and the Vikings couldn't take advantage. So that, to me, is the only drawback. Obviously, getting another good player today, the Vikings, they're loading up, man. They're pushing all their freaking chips in as trying to make a Super Bowl run. Kyler Murray, 31 of 44, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was sacked 4 times. He was also their leading rusher, and they stopped the run. Only 78 yards on the ground with 4 different guys. Vikings did a good job on defense, but DeAndre Hopkins had a good game, 12 catches for 159 yards, including a touchdown. Kirk Cousins, everyone's favorite nerd, was 24 of 36, 232, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Dalvin Cook, 20 for 111 through the ground. And Justin Jefferson, 6 for 98. A rare time he was under 100 yards. Thoughts on your Vikings with a 34-26 victory?
Yeah, it's just another typical Minnesota Vikings game. I thought that we were going to end up losing. The Cardinals ended up taking the lead from us in the second half. And it's just the kryptonite of the Minnesota Vikings has been the third quarter. Minnesota just comes out flat as hell in the third quarter. They act like they don't care. They forget how they got the lead in the first half. The first half they come out, they bull rush the Kirk Cousins had a 17-yard rushing touchdown, believe it or not. 17-yard touchdown. That's amazing right there. And then Dalvin Cook finally had his first 100-yard game of the year on the ground. It's just like I don't get this team, bro. It's frustrating to watch this team. It's like you don't understand what goes wrong with this team. Like what works in the first half, they're like, all right, it's time to just the whole new game plan. We're gonna have this is our new playbook. They basically just swap playbooks, bro. They're like, what works? We're gonna go with this book over here that says what doesn't work. So that's the book that they use in the third quarter right there.
Well, let me ask you.
Start fucking falling asleep and all that. They are such a good team, man. The record shows that they're really good, but if they could just pick it up in the third quarter, they'd be an even dangerous team, an even more lethal team, bro.
Well, let me ask you this: how does the Vikings offense stack up against the Cardinals offense?
Like if you were,
yeah, which one's the better one?
Offensively? Ooh, DeAndre, I would have to go with the Vikings having a better offense only because the running backs. But DeAndre Hopkins was killing us, dude. Like nobody could stop DeAndre. Did you see the touchdown that he had over Harrison Smith in the end zone?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Harrison Smith, there was no covering there. Nobody. Like Harrison Smith had it. Like he even kind of grabbed on his jersey, but DeAndre, all he did was just like there was a full man, all pro, like right here in front of him, and he still just reached out, just one handed.
Well, you see how long his hands are or his fingers are. That he's got good grip. So
almost as long as his dookie braids. So as I was watching the game, I was like, dude, I bet you that dude's got some long ass hair. Because like if he was a play with like no dookie braids or whatever they're called,
the fro,
the afro out, dude. Imagine how long that hair is.
It'd be bigger than Randy Moss. Remember Randy Moss?
Yeah, the afro.
Yeah. Now better defense. Who's got the better defense?
Better defense. I would have to go Minnesota.
Better special teams because of 2 fumbles.
Come on, man. You don't think I see it now? You just made it too obvious. You just said that was a perfect setup, dude. I gotta give you that one. So I'm gonna just have to say it, dude.
Go ahead, say it.
The Vikings versus the Cardinals, head to head. The Vikings got a better offense, better defense, better special teams. Papa John's.
There you go, Papa John's.
Special teams, dude. I want to point out like 3 plays. There was 3 plays that happened. It was Justin Jefferson had caught a ball and set us up to score a touchdown. I can't remember who scored it, Madison or Dalvin Cook, but he caught it on 2 people. We were looking slow, and that was a momentum changer right there. That's what picked up the Vikings right there, and it was that one, the stop on 4th down with I'm getting Jordan Hicks. He had it was like 4th and 4, and he made a really really good tackle on and prevented the Cardinals from getting that first down. That was gonna it would have been a different game had that not happened. So Jordan Hicks, Justin Jefferson, and the fumble, bro. That fumble was crucial. We scored because of all 3 of those big plays. But I can't decide which one was the biggest play, but I love them all.
Yep. I mean, this is it was a good win for you guys. Again, those are the games you got to win. You took care of business, and the Vikings are now one of the best teams in the NFC. They're right behind the.
Dude, you know what? I kind of feel like how you did back when you guys had the Legion of Boom. I don't know exactly like how you felt about it, but I'm noticing that now because the Vikings are 6-1, national media is forced to bring up the Vikings into the football conversations like all day long. Because I listen to sports radio, because I make deliveries. I'm a delivery driver, and then like on ESPN, they hardly ever bring the Vikings up. And then like it's getting to the point where now they're inching their way closer and closer to like what the media is forced to talk about. They're like, and we had to show the Minnesota Vikings respect. That's all they say because of the record. They don't go into no detail about the type of season that anybody on that team is having. Zadarius Smith is leading the NFL in sacks this year, and he doesn't get mentioned at all.
Yeah.
when the Pro Bowl, even though the Pro Bowl doesn't mean nothing in the NFL, when the Pro Bowl voting comes out and everybody sees the numbers for everybody, they're gonna be like, "Wow, this Viking," and everybody's gonna be like, "Why does it? Well, we've never heard of these players just because the media doesn't want to acknowledge anything like that." And I'm pretty sure that's what happened when Seattle was on their Super Bowl run right there. That the media was forced to talk about the Seahawks.
Yeah, if they would have got that second championship, oh my God, they would have been pissed off because they didn't like talking about the West Coast teams. Certain teams they don't like. If the Bears were doing really good, I remember when they made their Super Bowl run. I mean, everyone was talking about the Bears like they were the greatest thing, and they had a nobody quarterback and really not a good team. And you guys got an exciting football team, and they were forced to talk about the Vikings back in the day with Randall Cunningham and other times when they had, you know.
It doesn't feel authentic though. You could hear that it bothers them. They're like, "Man, we don't want to talk about the Vikings."
Yep.
You can just hear it. They're like, they just bring them up for like a split second, and then it's like the Vikings don't exist no more. They're like,
Yep.
"Oh, the rankings are out, and the best team." They don't even talk about the rankings because the Vikings are right there. They're like the best teams in the NFC are. They always go. How do they go in what order? They're always like the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the 49ers, and the Vikings are there, but they're not. Like they kind of like brush them off a little bit, and that's it. They just want to talk about the Eagles, Cowboys, and the 49ers. That's it.
Yep, pretty much. Well, let's move on to the next game. The Raiders go to 2-5, 0-4 on the road. The New Orleans Saints improved to 3-5, 2-3 at home. This is by far, bro, the worst offensive performance of the day. The team did not have 200 yards of total offense. Derek Carr went 15 for 26, only 101 yards. He was benched for Stidham, who went 8 for 13. Josh Jacobs only rushed for 43 yards. Everyone else was minus. Mac Hollins was your leading receiver, 7 for 64. Andy Dalton was 22 of 30, 229 and 2 touchdowns. Kamara, 18 for 62 and a touchdown, and also 9 for 96 through the air with 2 touchdowns. So he single-handedly beat the Raiders 24-0. We don't see too many shutouts in the NFL, but here's one of them, dude. So what are your thoughts on this one? I don't want to spend too much time on this game. This game was ugly.
Josh McDaniels. Bro, there's no way that the Raiders without Devontae Adams last year. We're not even going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about Josh McDaniels because the Saints, they are what they are. Everybody was picking them to. Some people would pick them to win the AFC, the NFC South, and they can still win it. But that team is really good on paper. You can pick them in a lot of games because their defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is with the Saints. But let's focus on Josh McDaniels and the excellent job that he's got going on over there, dude. How do you go from Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coordinator in Green Bay now, how do you let that guy go away for a proven loser like freaking Josh McDaniels? This right here is a proven fact that we don't attack. We're not against we're not against, like, I'm gonna just flat out call it what it is, bro. People will be like, "Oh, they're only attacking," because when the time comes for criticism, it's the right time. Like a lot of people are starting to criticize Todd Bowles, and they really don't want to because then they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're racist." No,
Yeah.
that has nothing to do. Either when the coach is doing a poor job, he's doing a poor job, and Josh McDaniels, he's white, right?
Yeah.
He's white, right? So he's doing an absolutely terrible job with the team that Rich Bisaccia. He had a team in the playoffs. They made the playoffs last year, and now this year they only have 1 or 2 wins. And then they added Devontae Adams. They added Chandler Jones. How do you do that, bro?
Well, here I talked to Big Game James, who's a huge Raider fan, and he was telling me on Sunday that basically the Raiders made that move to get rid of anything related to Gruden, and that was a stupid move. Look, he wasn't involved in the Gruden stuff. When he took that team over, he had the respect of the team, and then McDaniels comes in there, changes everything, goes away from what Carr was doing, what Gruden had got him going with, because Carr was not that good before Gruden got there. Gruden kind of got him on freaking track a bit, and he's not consistent, but he's had his flashes of good. But now he looks terrible in this offense. McDaniels always brings in his own play calling. It's just the Raiders are a mess right now, and they're going to waste a lot of talent now. And it's like it's Mark Davis's fault, dude. Straight up.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way, bro. I don't know, bro. How do you give that fucking loser? Like, it's like, dude, these outside of Bill Belichick, I would not want any of those coaches. Like, it's been proven over and over and over and over. It's like, dude, like anytime a Patriots head coach is up for their time to be a head coach, I'm like, for what? Dude, keep that motherfucker away from the Vikings. Excuse my language. That's exactly what I think of. I'm like, dude, keep that dude away. And then players too. Look at Stephon Gilmore. He got torched against the Colts too. Like, dude, what is it with the Patriots? Like, you got to keep the Patriots with the Patriots, bro. Like, you can't break that group up. And once the bird leaves the nest, that bird's gonna die, bro. Like, it's not gonna know how to eat. It's not. Look at I almost called him Matt LaFleur, but Matt Patricia. Look at him, and then look at Romeo Cornell. Look at Charlie Weiss.
The list goes on, dude.
The dude that was just the coach for the Giants, Joe Judge. Then you look at the black dude, Brian Flowers for the Dolphins. He was looking pretty decent, but then they got rid of him. I don't know, bro. I don't get it. I don't know why people even look at Patriot coaches that are coming out or Patriot players. But I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. Asante Samuel, I'm gonna just go way back when. Asante Samuel as well. He was looking like the sure thing. He went to Philadelphia, didn't do shit outside of when he was in New England. Just stay away from New England Patriot players. Like, stay away from them.
Yeah, they don't pan out too good. That's for sure.
Coaches too, except Mike Vrabel, but now his wheels are starting to fall apart.
Yeah, his eyes starting to turn backwards behind his head, but that's another story. Speaking of the Patriots, they go to 4-4, get a win on the road, and frustrate the hell out of Randy. Randy's Jets fall to 5-3, still a very respectful record. They're 1-3 at home, which is a little weird. They're 4-0 on the road. Mac Jones returned 24 of 35, 194 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Stevenson 16 for 71 on the ground. Stevenson also led in the air, 7 for 72. But Zach Wilson had a poor game, 20 for 41. The MILF killer threw for 355, but he had 2 touchdowns and 3 big interceptions. Michael Carter led the way. James Robinson got few touches. He's got to get integrated into that playbook first. But it just seems like Carter, I would love for this dude to take off, but for some reason he just doesn't get it. He doesn't hit the holes. He's more of a power back, goal line type dude right now. I really think he could have turned into a Chris Carson, but that's just me. Garrett Wilson led the Jets with 6 catches for 115 yards. Tyler Conkin also contributed 2 touchdowns. You want to play those Randy segments if you have those up real quick? Because
we got some audio from Randy. He was kind enough to bless us with his kind words. Parental advisory, explicit lyrics. So you got any kids in the room, kick them out for like a good 5 minutes. Not even that long, but just to be on the safe side. It's about 2.5 minutes long. So
let's hear it.
Kick the kids out. A lot of cursing. So here you guys go. This is Randy, the Jets fan, and his record is really, really good. He's got really good predictions, but I'm going to let Randy take it away.
We got a quarterback struggling. One of his top targets are fucking out. We lost his security blanket in Breece Hall for the fucking season. You got fucking Elijah Moore basically fucking ruining this whole vibe in the fucking locker room, dude. It's just like it's starting to seem like it's all downhill from here, dude. Jets are gonna fucking lose next week. We'll come out of the bye probably, or we'll lose to Buffalo. We'll go into our bye. We'll probably, come out of our bye, go into New England, fall fucking flat on our fucking faces, dude. Now we're fucking 5-5. I mean, and I now at this point I can see us fucking squandering games to fucking Chicago, fucking Detroit. I think there's a Jacksonville game in there we'll probably fucking fall on our fucking asses on. So, dude, I officially have no faith in the fucking season now, dude, because it's just I see everything. It's same old Jets slowly fucking wreaked its head over those fucking hills last week, dude, starting with that fucking Elijah Moore shit. And now here we are, dude. It feels like the same old shit from every other fucking year. All that 4-game win streak, all that shit that happened prior to this past week, dude. It's like it's fucking a distant fucking memory because it's the same old fucking Jets bullshit all over again. we got fucking a chemistry. We're doing fucking good and some piece of shit fucking faggot. Goddamn fucking receiver wants to fucking ruin it. I hope he fucking falls off a cliff. Seriously, use that shit in your show this week, dude.
That's the disclaimer.
Hey, man, I think we're starting to see the fucking weakness that is Zach Wilson. He can't see fucking shit in front of him. And instead takes the stupid fucking move, First he's running fucking in all kinds of different fucking patterns, trying to fucking avoid the goddamn sack. And instead of trying to find the check down, Looks for the dude 40, 50 yards downfield with like 20 fucking dudes on his ass, bro. And still's like, yep, looks legit to me.
See, I will say this. Look, again, thank you, Randy, for the audio, I hope you don't get mad at me for playing that. It's just the thing is, I wanted to play that to show the passion of football fans because I've been there. I've yelled at this TV. I've yelled at the screen. I know Carlos has. There's when you see your team that is put in a position where they're supposed to be a lot better than they are, and they fuck up like that, or they do the stupid things, or like I felt his frustration because it's New England. If the Rams had any fans, and they didn't win that Super Bowl last year, which I still don't give them on, that they really got it, but let's just say they didn't win that Super Bowl last year. You know how frustrating it must be to just be, you have the Niners invading your stadium and they freaking take over. You can't beat them at their house or your house at all. It's just a beat down every time. And Randy is in that mode where he was expecting the Jets to play better, to finally beat their daddy, being the Patriots, who's owned them since Brady got there. And then with Brady gone and a chance to go up and kind of kick him in the crotch, the Patriots still get it done. I mean, that's got to be frustrating. I mean, you could feel Randy's like every Jet fan.
Well, Randy will tell you better than I can ever tell you how it is to be a Jets fan. I feel for him because, I know what it's like to have a team own my team like the Packers, or even when you guys had Russell Wilson. We finally got Russell Wilson last season. But he had to have like a really bad team around him for us to finally beat him with the Seahawks. Man, it was terrible. Like just seeing that the Seahawks were on the schedule, I was like, fuck. It was on prime time. But I would keep my optimism up. I was like, this has to be the year. I was like, we're gonna catch him. Nope, we would end up getting blown out by the I'd be like, man, just the same old shit. It gets tiring after a while, bro. So I can't even disagree with anything that he had to say. You gotta let him be. I mean, that's part of being a football fan. It's just like that. Like, every team has that one team, like the Rams. Like you just said, the Rams and the 49ers. The Rams can't get over the 49ers. So it's just like they had them right there, and then that one interception that stands out in my eyes, dude, because I caught it off the red zone. Zach Wilson, when he was running around, and then I was like, he's about to throw the ball away. I was like, he's about to throw the ball away. No, he fucking says there, like on the run with a defender behind him, he tries to throw the ball. I'm like, what in the fuck? I was like, he's throwing that out of bounds. I was like, it just kept going straight. I was like, why is it not going out of bounds? I was like, and then the defender dives for it. I was like, he didn't even have a receiver in the area. I was like, and they were already losing right there. I think it was like 19-10. I was like, dude, that's fucking horrible. I was like, I don't understand that. And then that's when I just gave up on the Jets in that game. I was like, I don't know what it is, dude. It's just like some teams they just know how to beat you.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, that throw was terrible. He threw it sidearm too. It was like a whatever throw, and he didn't realize he's got to just throw it into the freaking three rows into the stands, or just throw it towards one of the bench guys. It's like it doesn't make any sense to throw the ball in play. And like you said, if that defender's not there, that would have been an intentional grounding. There was nobody there because he didn't quite leave the pocket either. He was still, I think, within that range of an intentional grounding. So.
Yeah, that it just killed me, bro, because they were on a roll, and they had it. They could have beaten the Patriots. They're gonna see them again, and hopefully Zach Wilson doesn't mess this one up. But Zach Wilson kind of got full of himself. They said that Zach Wilson the week before, because he started getting arrogant, he started getting cocky and full of himself. He said something about he got bored of because he was having success. He started getting bored, and that's the reason why he threw that interception, because he got arrogant. He started thinking that he can make Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes type passes because he's starting to feel like he's full of himself and stuff like that. That's what cost him that game, and now every Jet fan is mad at him for that. And for every right reason, dude. There's nothing wrong with hating Zach Wilson right now. He better pick it up, otherwise the backup's going to come in. Mike White, I want to say his name is.
Yeah, and to me, I don't like when players talk trash because they feel that their team record-wise is better. You still go in there and take a loss. To me, I go back to Ric Flair. To beat the man, you have to, or no, to be the man, you have to beat the man. So right now, still, unfortunately, the Patriots are still the man. And until the Jets can go in there and beat the man, hopefully Randy's prediction is wrong and they don't lose to the Patriots in a couple weeks in Foxborough. But if they were to beat the Patriots in New England, I think they'd feel a lot better, although they haven't beaten them in forever at home. But if they were to beat them on the road and kind of like, maybe the Patriots take a loss this week coming up, that would be huge because that would pretty much knock the Patriots out. But we'll see what happens. And I tried to tell him the other day when he sent me the voice message, hey man, like just try to keep it. I would be this way too if my Seahawks were playing the way I thought they were going to be. I'd be super pissed, even though not having much expectation. But I get where he's coming from, man. So much love to Randy. At least you got your picks right.
Yeah, he's great at doing that. He's kicking the shit out. He's kicking the living F out of me, dude. He's like owning me in picks.
Yep.
Like I gotta respect him for that, dude. But like, just to keep your head up, Randy, man. I don't know how much of this you're gonna want to retain, dude. You just gotta look at it like this: the Jets are way ahead of schedule. Nobody expected them to even be in this position that they're in. Just hang your head. You got to take those blows, bro. Like that winning streak was eventually going to come to an end. It came to the Patriots. You wanted to win that game more than any other game, but you got to look at it like this: you guys are going to see them again, and hopefully Zach Wilson is better prepared, and you guys are going to end up with a better record than the Patriots. It's a divisional game, and you know how divisional games work. The Lions have beaten the Packers in years past, and we all know that the Packers are a much better team than the Lions in years past. So I mean, just accept it for what it is, bro. Now you guys got to look at yourselves in the mirror and move on to the next week. I think it's the Buffalo Bills that you guys got next. And what if you guys end up beating the Buffalo Bills? Then what? You're gonna feel the complete opposite. You're gonna be like, that Patriots game is gonna be in the rearview mirror, and you're not even gonna think about it no more.
Yeah, I think that's what hurts him the most right now because I think he feels that if they would have beaten the Jets or beaten the Patriots, then you can afford to take a loss against the Bills. And he's thinking if they lose against the Bills, they're 5-4, and then we have the Patriots in Foxborough after that. And we just lost to them, so yeah, I could feel how he's down. So I ain't even gonna trip on that. But we got 3 games that all qualify for who gives a fuck game of the week. I'll let you pick it at the end, but the first one's gonna be one where I don't have much on it. I didn't watch hardly any of this game either. It was a battle of Pennsylvania. The Steelers fall to 2-6. They and the Eagles, they fly. Eagles fly. They're undefeated. Kenny Pickett, 25 of 38, 191 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Chase Claypool was traded from the Steelers today, but he had his last game in there. He threw a pass. Jalen Warren, 6 for 50 on the ground. And then Fear Mirth, or whatever his name is, 4 for 57 through the air. Jalen Hurts, 19 for 28, 4 touchdowns, no picks, perfect passer rating. He continues to be really good. Mike Sanders, 9 for 78 through the ground. A.J. Brown continues to shine, 6 catches, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns. His last touchdown celebration was hilarious. I did see that highlight. 35-13, not even close. I'm not used to seeing the Steelers this bad, brother.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this game. I wanted to see what was going on, how you felt about Mike Tomlin, because I feel like Mike Tomlin's time is going to come to an end. How many years is he going to get before the media and everybody starts hammering down that Mike Tomlin, he's on the hot seat and all that, bro? They just got rid of Chase Claypool. I know that they got wide receivers and all that, but before you start making moves, they also got a cornerback too from Washington. Williams. I know that the last name is Williams, but let's see let's see if they got it right with this quarterback. Now, are they gonna go? This season's over for the Steelers. There's no reason to actually pay full attention to the Steelers other than the young and up and coming players, because those are the ones that are gonna stick around just to see how nice they look in one-on-one situations. But what are the Steelers gonna do in this upcoming offseason? Are they gonna get another quarterback that'll create competition for the rookie right now, Pickett, or are they just gonna go with this quarterback right now? Because I don't know, bro. Like Mike Tomlin, he hasn't done nothing since Ben Roethlisberger's last season, and even that season when they went 11-0, that season was everybody was calling that the Steelers were going to get beat in the first round or the second round, whatever it was, and it happened. It happened because everybody knew that the Steelers had an easy ass schedule, and then Roethlisberger wasn't looking impressive. Mike Tomlin hasn't been able to do it. We're going to see if he's going to be able to develop this quarterback. If he can develop this quarterback, then he's going to be around for a long time. But if he has a hard time coming up with another quarterback that's somewhat decent, bro, that's trustworthy, he's going to be on the hot seat before you know it. Mike Tomlin, I don't trust Mike Tomlin no more, bro. He's got to show me.
Exactly. Well, and I'm not disagreeing with anything about that. I mean, it's a huge offseason for the Steelers. Are they going to go a complete rebuild, or are they going to just try to fill in the gaps? We'll have to see, because either way, Pittsburgh is a destination for free agents. They always seem to get good free agents.
Well, especially safeties. You know how it is with the safeties.
Exactly. Next game is Tennessee Titans. Remember when they were 0-2? Well, I don't. They're 5-2. They've won 5 straight, but they played the Texans, who fall to 1-5-1. Now, despite the Texans being 1-5-1, they are still miles ahead of the freaking Detroit Lions. So even though they're right there for the worst record in football, they're still playing hard under Lovie Smith. Davis Mills had a good game in this one, but we'll get to him in a minute. Malik Willis only threw 10 passes, his first career start, only 55 yards and an interception. But Derrick Henry, when you got Derrick Henry rushing 32 times for 219, and also Hilliard with 8 for 6 for 83. You really don't need Willis to throw too much. They really simplified the game, so really no passing stats. David Mills, 17 for 29, 152 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Pierce had a bad game on the ground, only 35 yards. Brandon Cooks, 4 for 73. 17-10, they hung in there, but Houston could not get the win.
How do you feel about that game? Did you watch any of it?
Watched a little bit of it the fourth quarter because I thought maybe Tennessee had a chance. Or not Tennessee, Houston, but no.
I'm going to be honest with you. The only thing I remember of that game was because thanks to Red Zone. If it wasn't for Red Zone, I would not even budge on that game. It's just one of those games. It's just like two very uninteresting teams. I'm just like, nah, like I don't have no interest. But because of Red Zone, I was able to see Malik Willis take off for a touchdown on the ground. So, I mean, it looks like if they can figure out how to build the team around Malik Willis, because dude Ryan Tannehill is not it. We're gonna have to see. They're gonna have to stick with Malik Willis, obviously, and hopefully he's the real deal. Because that division, that whole entire division, the AFC South, dude, I don't know who to pick, dude. Trevor Lawrence, he keeps showing you flashes here and there, but then he also reminds you why you can't trust him. So hopefully Malik Willis does turn out to be the real deal and turns that whole entire franchise around. And then with that being done, with him turning everything around and becoming like a really good quarterback to an elite quarterback, free agents are going to want to go over there and play with them and be the number one wide receiver over there. So I'm rooting for the kid. Hopefully he can really do some damage over there, because that whole entire division needs it, bro. That division is just like, but yeah, everybody knows that nobody's coming out of the AFC South. It doesn't matter how good the Titans can be. It's just that whole entire division right now doesn't have an alpha leader.
AFC South and the NFC South both suck balls.
But I'll take the NFC South right now over the AFC South.
Well, I would too.
The only thing that I would take from the AFC South right now is two running backs: Travis from Jacksonville, the running back, and Derrick Henry. That's it. Outside of that, I won't touch any other player from any of those AFC South teams.
Fair enough. Well, let's move on to another shitty game, and this was the Washington Woke, who now go to 4-4 surprisingly. And it's not because of Carson Wentz. I guarantee you the last two games they would have lost with Carson Wentz as quarterback. Yeah. They went into Indy and win a 1-point game, 17-16. Taylor Heinicke at the end coming through with a big touchdown score as they beat the Colts. The Colts now fall to 3-4. Heinicke is now 23 of 31, 2-0 as a starter, 279. Watch out, the NFC East has no losing teams in that division. Let's see, Heinicke was your leading rusher. McLaurin had 6 catches for 113. He continues to shine as a woke player. Sam Ehlinger had his first career start. Not bad, 17 of 23, 201 yards. No touchdowns, no picks, but in the loss. And Jonathan Taylor, everyone's favorite first-round pick, still can't crack 100 yards. He had 76. And Alec Pierce, 3 for 65. The woke, I don't have much to say on this one other than I saw Heinicke score that late touchdown, and that was it, man. I didn't follow the games like I normally would this week. I was out, so.
Well, Sam Ehlinger, I remember when the game started because I was paying attention to this game. I was like, what's going to happen? Because I was like, why are they starting this dude Sam Ehlinger over Matt Ryan? I was like, what's the deal with it? And then I saw that they initially, bro, I was like, whoa, they got a lot of confidence in this dude Sam Ehlinger. So I started paying even more attention to that game. Not as much as I should have. But I should definitely pay attention. I should have definitely paid attention to this game because it was a really good one. It came down to the wire. Heinicke actually led Washington down there for the game-winning touchdown. It was a nice drive, bro. I was rooting for both quarterbacks because they're both young and nobody really cares about them. But they came out with 5 wide receivers sets, a lot with for Indy, bro. I was like, what's going on? What did I miss? I don't know who this Sam Ehlinger. So I went on Madden and I looked up how fat. Like I looked up his attributes and all that. The kid is only 23 years old. He's got wheels on him. He's fast. I was like, well, they see something. He's a scrambler. He's a mobile quarterback for sure. So, and then they were calling, like I said, a lot of like 4 and 5 wide receiver sets. So that's another reason why Jonathan Taylor couldn't get it going, because they see something in this kid, Sam Ehlinger. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually turned out to be something pretty nice. But then again, you got to think about it. It's a Washington defense. Like, but it was like you got to look at it like this. It was a 17-16 final. So it was like a defensive game. So I don't know what to make of it. Those two teams. I wish they would play a lot of them more often because that's entertaining right there. That's some good football.
If he starts throwing the ball a lot and he's not making turnovers, then that's a good sign. So we'll have to see the next few starts because they already said Matty Ice is done for the year. Like, they don't want him starting.
Keep that dinosaur off that stuff. Keep him away from them. Man, they just need to pack his shit up and they just need to send that shit back to Atlanta and just tell them, you know what, we're going to pay you to not be here, dude. Get the fuck away from our team. You suck. Your best days are. I would flat out tell him, I'd be like, dude, don't come back. Like, we don't need you. We'll take a chance on a free agent or quarterback out there or something. He's not that good. He's done, bro.
He's not.
That dude's Ellinger, bro. He's mobile. He's nice. He's nice. Like, you're gonna start hearing his name a lot. He's nice. He's like Taylor Heineke. They're both about the same, bro. I was like Sam Ellinger, and it's that. I'm telling you, I wish I could watch that game all over again.
Well, see, the woke need to do one thing. That's get rid of Wentz, and you're saying the same thing with Matty Ice. Get rid of the old, cut bait, and freaking use those kids. Because I'm telling you, Heineke's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. So
Washington, they signed him to Heineke to like a 3-year, $90-something million contract, and then what do they do 1 year later? Oh, we're going to go and spend a first-round pick on Carson Wentz.
That's so stupid. So stupid. Let's move on to another game as we're wrapping up here, Week 8. We only got a few games left. The 49ers do what they do, and they own the Rams. So, like, when the Yankees used to play the Red Sox and Pedro Martinez was on the Red Sox, the Yankee fans would say, "Who's your daddy?" And they would always beat the Red Sox with Pedro Martinez out there. And I feel the Niners should start saying, "Who's your daddy?" Because except for that cheating game in the championship last year, basically the Rams have not beaten the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo, again, if Trey Lance is starting, I have no faith in him. 21 of 25, 235, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He's just efficient, and you gave him a weapon in Christian McCaffrey, who we'll get to what he did. 18 for 94 on the ground. Brandon Ayuk, 6 for 81. Christian McCaffrey also caught 8 for 55. Matthew Stafford looked good in the first half, but was putrid in the second half. The Rams could not get anything going. And again, another game where the Rams can't even get a guy rushing over 50 yards. They've been pathetic at running the football all year. And Cooper Kupp had a non-Cooper Kupp game, only 8 for 79. But McCaffrey, becomes the first player in NFL history to throw for a touchdown, receive a touchdown, and rush for a touchdown.
I was going to say that, too. I was going to give him a big old shout out. 49ers without Deebo Samuel, too.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that one. They didn't have Deebo Samuel. But that team scares me, man. That team scares me. Like, honestly, that team and the whole – I know I'm going to sound like the media and everybody else, but honestly, that team does scare me in regards because – think about this. Our head coach in Minnesota is from Sean McVay's tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see what the 49ers do to Sean McVay's team itself. Mm-hmm. So the 49ers scare me because the 49ers know how to stop Sean McVay, and our head coach came from that same tree. So I don't like our chances if it comes down to the 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings matching up in the playoffs. Like, that matchup scares me a little bit, man. But when they get things going, bro, they're going to turn it around. It's going to be interesting to see how the Seahawks and the 49ers match up. Like, without Russell Wilson, you wouldn't have never thought that the 49ers would be looking up at the Seahawks for the division.
Well,
as far as the Rams, bro, like you said, it's like the Jets and Patriots deal. Like, you just know that everybody picked the Rams to lose against the 49ers because it was obvious. The Rams just can't get over the 49ers unless, like you said, the cheating game. And it's like the NFL kind of rigged that game, I think, because the Rams were at home for the Super Bowl and all that. But, it is what it is. Not much else to say other than I want to see what the 49ers are going to look like when they're 100% healthy with Deebo Samuel. It's going to be scary, bro. It's going to be tough to beat the 49ers.
Right now, the Niners have the best roster. They are the scariest 4-4 team. They are going to be difficult. Their chips are all in for this season, maybe next season, depending on the Garoppolo situation, the Trey Lance situation. So the Niners, I think, they realize this is their best chance to do something, and they've got some winnable games and some tough matchups coming up. We play them in a few weeks. I don't consider us better than them at all. So we have our work cut out if we're going to stay close to, I still pick them to win the division. I still think they should win the division. They've got a team that can go on a run. McCaffrey just gives them another wrinkle to go along with Kittle. Kittle hasn't played up to his ability yet. So once he does, man, freaking watch out. So that is, I'm with you. That's a scary ass team.
You can basically watch that for that Chiefs game away, bro. I don't look at it because Christian McCaffrey was new in town and all that, and they barely used Christian McCaffrey. But, a month from now, I'd like to see the Chiefs and the 49ers play again and see who the better team is, because you can't look at that. You can't look too far into that game.
Nope, you can't.
The 49ers are much better than that. Everybody knows it, bro. Everybody knows what type of team the 49ers could turn into.
Yep. Well, that'll kick us into our next game. My boys, the Seattle Seahawks, again, playing the Giants. The Seahawks go to 5-3, 3-1 at home. The only loss is that tough one to the Falcons. The New York Giants are 6-1. They suffer their first road defeat. The Giants, by the New York media, was supposed to come in here. Daniel Jones us a little bit to death with Saquon Barkley, own the time of possession, shut us down. But there's a guy named Geno Smith who's replaced Russell Wilson, and to me, right now, like I again, every week I eat crow because I didn't think he was going to be this good, but Geno Smith for the Seahawks, right now, he's only percentage points away from the MVP Allen for best passing quarterback rating. He's ahead of Pat Mahomes in a couple stats. He's got the most accurate passes this season of any quarterback. I don't even know how they rack that up, but that's what I've heard. And he's just efficient. Every game, he's only had, I think, 1 or 2 games under the quarterback rating under 100. So he's been playing efficient every week. The run game's gotten better. The defense has been playing great the last 3 weeks. Had they had this defense against the Saints and Falcons, we could be looking at an almost undefeated team. So the Giants were supposed to walk in there to Seattle and get the victory, but Seattle played tough defense. They shut down Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones only 176 yards throwing. Saquon Barkley only 53 yards on the ground. Darius Slayton 66 through the air. My boy Geno Smith 23 of 34, 212, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Kenneth Walker 18 for 51 on the ground. Not a great game, but he had a great touchdown to close it out. Metcalf played, which I was surprised, 6 for 55. Tyler Lockett 5 for 63. Before I let you get your thoughts on this one, real quick, I thought the play of the game was early on. The only touchdown the Giants got, Lockett had fumbled inside the 5. The Giants cashed it in real quick. And then Lockett also dropped a go-ahead touchdown where they had to settle for a field goal. So when the game was tied, after he dropped that pass, Geno came over to him and told him, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go right back to you." And Lockett had his head down, and he kind of grabs Lockett by the chin, raises his head, and makes eye contact with him and says, "Hey, man, I'm going back to you. Keep your head up. We got this." And lo and behold, the next drive, he went right back to Lockett, and that was the game winner.
Well, you covered it beautifully because you watched the game and all that. I will say that the fumble that the Giants had when they were down 20-13, I want to say the score was right. That fumble was cool. I looked at it, I was like, dude, that, and then Seattle recovered it. I was like, New York could have had this game. I was just thinking, I was just shaking my head. I was like, New York had this game in the bag if they would have just not fumbled. And when you play on the road in Seattle, you can't afford to have any turnovers, especially in crucial moments. You can afford one in like the first quarter, depending on what the score is. But, dude, when you have that in the second half in Seattle and you give them the ball in the red zone, and then they got a running back like Kenneth Walker, and then they got the wide receiver options, and then the tight end, Noah Fant, who's coming into his own a little bit, mobile quarterback. It's bad news, bro. I think that's the reason why the Seahawks won, because of that fumble, man. But I don't know, man. New York, they should bounce back this upcoming week. They should have had that win. They should have, could have, would have, but.
Yeah, I think if they don't fumble that ball, I mean, the Giants, we're playing right into the Giants' strength, which is play tight game, sort of like Seahawk football in the last couple of years. Keep it close, maybe make a last-second drive. But, Jones is not a freaking Russell Wilson type of quarterback pre-Denver. So you don't have that comeback ability. So I do like what the Giants got. I know they're going to be good. This is a tough loss for them, a very good character-building team win for us. And Lockett also in the press conference said something that really stuck out to me. He said basically it's amazing what you can do when you're as a team, when no one's looking for the shade or the what do you call it?
When there's not a selfish player, basically, like when it's a team movement, when everybody's all in. That's why they have the record that they have. And they're right in the thick of things. They're right there, bro. They would be the number 3 seed.
They'd be hosting the Giants if the playoffs started today.
That would be an awesome rematch, man. Let's hope that happens. But let's see what happens when New York, San Francisco, and Seattle are going to get into it. We'll see, man. The NFC got really, really good after the trades, all the trades that happened, bro. Because everybody was like, "Oh, the NFC isn't not that good." Now that you can start seeing that all the NFC teams that are gonna make the playoffs, it's gonna be a fucking. I'm gonna say something that I really don't say, but it's gonna be a fucking banger, bro. The NFC. It doesn't matter. I want. Don't get me wrong. Vikings #1 in my heart, but I want to see how every game's gonna play out. I want to watch the playoffs so bad, but dude, once the playoffs are here, I'm like, oh no, we only got a month left of football.
Well, yeah, and it's stressful too. This isn't baseball. It's not basketball. It's not hockey. It's one and you're done. So you got to show up that week. You can have a 11-5 record, 11-6 record, or you can have like only 2 losses. You get into that postseason, a team comes in there hot, and you just don't have your A game. You're done. That's the hardest pill to swallow. You get the highest of highs as a football fan if your team wins in the postseason. But if they lose, it's like, that's it, man. It's like, you're done. You're like, really? It's over? And it's like, yeah, it's freaking over. So one team it could be over for in a week or two, possibly. You have them on your list, your favorite Green Bay Packers, as we're going to sum up the final 2 games of the season, or 2 games of the week, I'm sorry. Green Bay Packers fall to 3-5. A lot of 3-5 football teams as they get beat by the Buffalo Bills 6-1. Bills actually looked like they were going to make it to Demons. He made that, what is it called? The prediction, it was going to be like 44 to something. But they slowed down in the second half. The Bills kind of took it easy on them, I felt. Packers defense played good. But Aaron Rodgers, 19 for 30, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Aaron Jones, 20 for 143, so he had a good game. Romeo Dubes, that's your leading receiver for the Packers, 4 for 62. But Josh Allen, 2 touchdowns, 2 uncharacteristic interceptions. Singletary, 14 for 67 on the ground. And Stephon Diggs does Stephon Diggs stuff, 6 for 108. Are you impressed with this victory over the Packers?
It was predictable. It was delightful, to be honest with you. Like, don't get me wrong, I do got some Packer fan friends out there, and I'm trying to hold myself back from like taking the crap on the Green Bay Packers. But like, I'm gonna just say one thing, get it off my chest, dude. It feels good. I hope that all like the Packer fans that are out there don't take offense to this, but try to realize that as a Viking fan, even Bear fans can attest to this, and even Lion fans, dude. It's going to feel so good watching the Packers only average like 3 or 4 wins a season and be in the basement. I hope it's like this for at least 10 years, bro. I hope the Packers struggle for like 10 or 15 years, just so that way they can go through some. They need to get put through it, bro. Like for like the longest, for like 30-something years, they've basically been spoiling their fans, and now their fans are sitting there feeling what every other fan base is going through, has gone through, without a Hall of Fame first ballot, Hall of Fame quarterback. And it just feels so good just knowing that it's finally happening, and I was able to see it like in its initial stage. Like, hopefully, I'm praying to the football guys. I'm praying to God. I'm praying to everybody out there. Let it be like a nice little stretch where nothing happens for Green Bay. Hopefully they go like on 3-win seasons. It'll be a delight. That means the world to so many football fans, bro. Because it does feel like the longest Green Bay has been on top, bro. And I'm tired of that shit.
I will say this: if Jordan Love and Trey Lance are your starters for the Packers and Niners, they will see less than 6 wins in a year. At least the Packers for sure. Because I'm telling you, Jordan Love is not the go-to guy after Aaron Rodgers. We'll have to see what happens there, man. But the Packers, unfortunately, take the loss. They're now 3-5. My dad's not too happy about that. That will leave us with one game to talk about. That was last night's Monday night debacle. It was 25-0 in the third quarter. Browns over the Bengals. Everyone wrote off the Browns already, but they go to 3-5, another 3-5 team. Bengals fall to 4-4 now. I think they fall a game behind the Ravens. Joe Burrow was kind of miserable for most of the game, even though he finished 25 of 35, 232, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Bro, their offensive line looks like the Seahawks' old line. They could not block for shit. Not too many stats as far as Higgins is concerned or Mixon. Jacoby Brissett was efficient, 17 for 22, 278. They had time of possession all day. Nick Chubb, 23 for 101. Kareem Hunt, a guy a lot of people thought was going to be traded. He stuck around. He had 42 yards. And Amari Cooper had a nice game, 5 catches for 131 yards. Thoughts on this game that nobody predicted?
Browns had their way with them. Browns, they said, you got to think about it like that, like the Jets and the Patriots, divisional games. The teams that aren't good, like the worst, are going to pick up their wins. The teams that aren't going to make the playoffs, and the teams that like the Browns, basically the Browns. A team like that isn't going to make the playoffs, but then they're not all that good or whatever. I don't know how to categorize them. They're like towards the bottom. They're not going to be the worst. So they're going to have to pick up wins somewhere along the way. And I think where you can pick the Browns comfortably and know that they're going to try their hardest is in the division, especially as the season goes on. Now we're getting closer to Deshaun Watson coming back. Cincinnati, I don't know what to think about Cincinnati, bro. It's just like, dude, 1 week they're good, then this week they're bad. It's just like, it's crazy, bro. You can't figure out a team like Cincinnati that's throwing everybody off. That's how the NFL season is so messed up, bro, because we need consistency. And in this season, we've seen nothing but inconsistency, except from like the 3 or 4 teams that are staying consistent. In the NFC, it's the Eagles, it's the Vikings. And I could even throw the Seahawks in there, bro. They should. Oh my God, me and you were talking about it before we started the podcast. But the Seahawks could quite possibly be sitting on 1 loss had they beaten the Falcons at home and they stopped Taysom Hill on that touchdown run. You guys should be sitting on 1 loss. And imagine what the NFC would look like right now if you guys were sitting on 1 loss. The Vikings and the Seahawks would be battling for the number 2 seed. The Eagles would have both the Seahawks and the Vikings on their neck. It'd be crazy. But it is what it is. And the Browns, I don't know what to think about them. If they're 500 by the time Deshaun Watson comes back, then they can quite possibly win that division, because it looks like nobody in the AFC North wants to win it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, that thing is still up for debate. Even though Pittsburgh only got 2 wins, they're not eliminated. So it's going to be something that's going to take a few more weeks to decide. But yeah, it's just weird too to see. Usually off a Super Bowl, you have the team that loses has the rough year. They either don't make it to the playoffs or they get bounced early in the playoffs the next year. It's rare when both teams from a Super Bowl don't make it back. And I really think that this, if the Bengals can't get it going, because me and you were both like, well, right now the best team that can make it back from the Super Bowl is the loser, actually. The winner might not even make the playoffs. So we're seeing a downward trend with the Rams. Their roster, their cap is finally catching up to them. The genius is not the genius. The Bengals have that mojo to where we thought they were supposed to steamroll the Browns and be 5-3 too, but now they're 4-4. Then we're not riding them off. But if you go 500 the rest of the way, you might not make it. There might not be 2 teams coming out of that AFC North. So with that being said, I would love for the Browns or the Bengals to get it going, man, but I don't know. They're too up and down, and like you said, it's hard to call. And we're just going to have to see, man, because I can't remember a season where the returning Super Bowl champs or the team that lost, both of them don't make it. That's kind of weird.
And then think about this, too. Jamar Chase is out for like a month and a half.
Correct. That's huge. That's a huge blow for the Bengals.
It's easy to say, they got T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and then, Hayden Hurst. But they've had them for a while. They've had them since Jamar Chase came into the picture, and they didn't do nothing with them when Jamar Chase was there. So let's see what happens with the Cincinnati Bengals. But I'll tell you one thing: the Cincinnati Bengals, for a 500 team, got one of the best rosters. So if you're gonna bank your money on a team that's 500 or worse, you go with the Cincinnati Bengals or the 49ers. Those are the 2 teams that are at 500 right now. Those are the 2 teams that I would bank my money on to make the playoffs at a 500 record.
Exactly. I mean, those 2 teams, I mean, who knows? That could be a Super Bowl matchup too. Because both teams have proven they can do some things in the postseason. So if the Bengals were to get hot, the Niners are going to get hot at some point. Man, imagine them going through the NFC and the AFC, and you have those 2 teams rematch of a 1988 Super Bowl when it was Bengals 49ers. So we'll see.
Right now, at this moment, if that was the game right now for the Super Bowl, who would you pick right now? Bias aside, who would you pick?
My wish would be the Bengals. My bias would be, your bias aside would be the Niners. I couldn't bet against them, dude.
Like, if you had to put your house up on a bet, which team would you go? The
49ers. I hate saying it, man, but I hate saying it, but I have to be truthful, man.
Hey, with a lot of the line, you go with smart, right?
Exactly.
That's how I started breaking away from being that ultra biased fan. You know what I mean? A super annoying fan. You got to sit there and
wait, you were annoying? No way.
Tell him about it.
Well, yeah, you're a dick. He was the kind of guy, because we talked about it earlier as we finished up the show. we talked about the Seahawks and the Vikings, and I would always be like, you're more like, okay, I like our chances, but I would never throw it in his face. Carlos is, sending me, all these pictures and saying doom, and here come the Vikings, and we're going to beat that ass and all this stuff. And I'm hearing that all week, dude. He's just trolling and trolling and trolling.
Tell him, I was a hardcore troll, and I still am to a degree. I'm not as bad as I used to be. I control myself a lot better, but we had to finish it up with this one. When you guys lost to Atlanta in the NFC divisional round, dude, tell him how many missed calls did you have by me?
Oh, I had something close to like 100, man. This guy was calling me because at the time I was mad. I was doing a Randy. I was pissed. I was throwing some stuff, and then I actually was like, I don't want to answer my phone. Like, I don't want to hear him because I know he's going to talk crap. And credit to Carlos, he kept calling me until he finally got me on the phone and it wasn't even like, oh, yeah, your team lost, ha. It was just, he kept laughing. And he just wanted to get it out there. So he couldn't even say a couple sentences. He had to get the laughs out first. I was like, you're such a dick, dude.
Like a week later, I was holding it in. My favorite part of that whole, because I know you got to go. My whole entire last thing I'm gonna say is my favorite part of that whole entire week that you didn't answer was I remember sending you a small video of the kicker. I forget what the kicker's name for Atlanta when he made the kick. I sent you that whole entire little clip. I don't know if you actually.
Oh
saw it.
yeah, I saw it.
There. I was like, which Ryan do you like, this Ryan or that Ryan? Because they had Matt Ryan and then the kicker Ryan.
Oh yeah. It was just over and over. I got the picture of him, but that field goal thing came back to bite you in the ass because then I sent you the picture of your boy missing that field goal. I kept sending the left.
But then that came back to bite you. Yeah, I got as their kicker. I remember I made a YouTube video out of him and I captioned it, "Mr. Nike Blair Walsh."
Well, that's the thing. Real quick too. There was a time period where the Seahawks just kept getting ex-Vikings. Remember that? That used to piss you off. You'd be like, man, we got another Viking guy.
But it was the greatest comeback. Like, it was the best feeling in the world when we got Steve Hutchinson from you guys. You guys tried getting Nate Burleson. I was like, have fun with that one.
Well, that sucked, dude, because Hutchinson should have went to the Hall of Fame with Walter Jones as a freaking Seahawk Hall of Famer. But because we screwed him over, we did. Hutchinson decided, even though he played more years with Seattle, to retire a Viking. And hats off to him. He had a great Viking career too. But he should have been wearing a Seahawks. He should never have been gone, bro. I mean, we gave up. We tried to get a fast receiver and gave up on our line. It's what's got us there, And he was a rock, bro. He was a rock.
Yeah. Nate Burleson was average at best, I would say.
Yeah, that was a terrible trade. Terrible. But, all right, man. Well, I got to get rolling. We got a lot of views here at the end. Everyone started jumping on. So this is around the time, 5, 6 o'clock when we do our recap shows on the week. Tomorrow, keep ahead around the same time, 5, 6 o'clock. Me and Carlos will be live to do the pick'ems. So we're going to do the pick'ems for next week. And we'll have Randy on here and a couple others. Oh yeah, that's my boy right here. So he was in studio. So all right, Carlos, any final words?
Yeah, man. Bad luck to you when we make the picks tomorrow. And Randy, we definitely need Randy to start taking their bells.
He needs to start taking some losses, dude. He's making us look bad.
Very bad.
Yep. All right, man. Well, give us a honk to go. There you go. All right, Papa John's.